Drage poslušalke in poslušalci, lepo pozdravljeni v današnjem RŠ intervjuju. Z vami sem Ema Erna Weber in danes na intervjuju gostim libanonski free rock post-folk sextet Sanam, ki ima danes večer tukaj v Channel Zero, kjer se trenutno nahajamo, v sklopu Level Up serialke koncert, ki pa je za tale špil združila moči tudi so godbami. And now I'm going to switch to English so we can get this interview started. So, hello everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time for this interview before your concert tonight. So, you just arrived at the main station here in Ljubljana, actually just a couple of minutes ago, from Switzerland. And for starters, I'd like to know, how's your summer tour treating you so far?
Okay, so we actually started our summer tour. The first leg was in Canada, and we also did like from coast to coast. So we went from Halifax to Calgary, and we did a few shows in Montreal also. And we crossed the ocean here to you guys. Did a few shows before, and now we're here. So this is how it's going.
So now to really start off, I would like us to say a word or two about your early days as a band or as a group. The name Hans-Joachim Irmler of the German band Faust is constantly popping up in connection with your beginnings. And now I'd like to know what is actually his role in all of this and what were kind of the key elements that helped to establish this connection that then resulted in the formation of the band.
Yeah, so we started, the band started with this workshop with Mr. Imler. He came to Bejruta in 2021 and we were taking a part in a festival called Irtijal. It's an experimental music festival in Beirut. And the organizers of Irtijal got the idea to put us, the six of us together with Mr. Imler to do like a kind of music workshop. We knew each other a little bit personally, each from different groups. Huh?
Somehow,
yeah. But it was a lot of fun. What's very interesting about Imler is that he does not talk. He's a person that doesn't talk at all. And I guess this was the kind of secret sauce that made us kind of click together because he had like a rule of no talking. If we were to talk about the music we were playing, he would get very, very upset. So it kind of set the thing, like this is how it started. Now we talk. 3 years after, we decided that maybe it's better if we talk a little bit.
You didn't learn anything from him.
Yeah, but we miss him actually.
Now he only funds our albums.
Imagine.
No, we haven't seen him since 2021.
Yeah, very hard guy to get a touch of, but we miss him a lot. If he is ever watching this, Hans, come back.
Hans.
Talk to us. And did everything fall into place between all of you right away as a band? Like, did you connect instantly, or was this more of a gradual kind of process?
No, at first it was very quick. We got along, all six of us, really quickly together, thankfully. But then, of course, after 5 years, things do this and this and this and that. But for sure, this first spark still has something. Mm-hmm. It's still there somewhere.
And now I'd like to discuss the recording process of your work. So you recorded your debut album, Aikadani Malak. I hope I'm saying that right.
Very close.
While on a residency in a village somewhere in Lebanon. And this album was recorded with no overdubs. It was recorded completely live. What's the case with this new upcoming album? How was the recording process different?
For the second one?
Yeah.
The first one was a continuation of the workshop in a way. Like the workshop was a bit of preparation for an improvised concert. And we wanted to keep the same spirit for the first one. So we just booked a house, that's a regular house, and took our instruments, set up a studio, and we played there every day. And at the end, we chose what became the songs on the first album. Mm-hmm. And then we started touring, and we had to recreate these songs. So it wasn't very much of an improv anymore. And we kind of started writing the same, like something in between. Like we would come up with ideas, jam, and then start like making them songs. We did 2 other residencies for the second album. Mm-hmm. and we recorded it properly in France in a studio called La Frette with our producer who mixed the first album, actually, who's a very good friend. He's based in Montreal. He's called Radwan Ghazi Mumne.
Jerusalem in my heart, his artist name.
And how would you describe the process of forming a song? I mean, I can imagine that it varies, of course, but do you have any like refined methods that you always see yourself kind of coming back to, if there's like a creative block or something?
I think the key thing we do is we discuss a menu, appetizers, salad, and then like a main course. And, just if we're blocked somewhere, this will solve it.
So he's still jet lagged.
So are you, I guess.
We usually know what not to do, more so than what to do. Musically, we know what not to do. Like on the first record, we knew exactly what we didn't want to do. And then on the second record, we knew what we did a lot on the first record, and we didn't want to do that in the second record. So basically, it starts somewhere off,
and then you build on this.
Yeah, and then we have a song. Usually, there's a track that we hate, that we beat a lot, and this is the track block. There's a track that you're blocked. You focused on this track because you're blocked. And this is the one usually that ends on the final day of recording, or ends up being the one you like the most. Yeah. That changes like a million times. And while this track is changing, the other tracks come out.
Hadia?
Hadia, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, also in the first record, they were like, because I'm the singer, so they were like, jamming with the music and everything. And then during this jam, I was reading poems and reading texts, and then suddenly I find out that this text suits this kind of melodies.
While you were listening to
it. So the second one was the opposite, more or less. That I have all the poems and the texts
and the melodies to some extent.
The melodies. Yeah,
this is what we didn't want to do in the second. Like the second one, that was the song came kind of with the music. The first one was the music, then the song.
Yeah, so you actually wrote 2 songs for this new upcoming album. And as you just mentioned, you also borrow a lot of lyrics from different poets, and some of them are even traditional lyrics and so on. So I'd like to know, what type of significance do you all think that the lyrics carry in your music, and how do you decide which lyrics to use, and do they always speak to all of you?
This is for you.
Yeah, for me, I have like favorite poets. I have them in my mind, and I read a lot for them. So, I found that we are really similar, even if I didn't wrote these poems. So and I feel that there's like Paul Shawoul and Bassam Hajjar and Mahmoud Darwish. Paul Shawoul and Bassam Hajjar are Lebanese, and Mahmoud Darwish from Palestine. I think as if they are sitting with us. So it's a real connection with the music that we make. So
and I also want to point out the fact that you all are working on different personal projects as well. Some of you are even in other different bands. Does this ever affect your workflow as Sanam, or do you kind of see it as a valuable advantage in a way?
We sit on our calendars more than we sit on music. It's very hectic, but we make it work, like in terms of like scheduling and everything, but we make it happen. But I don't think it affects us musically, really, because we all come from different backgrounds, so we do different stuff in other projects. Sometimes you transfer like sounds, ideas, but in the end, each project is its own thing, so there's no like stepping on each other's feet.
Yeah, also it's really refreshing to work on other things, because you don't stick to one method or one group or one sound ideas. You have like, for me, it's no, for us, it's really important, like to see other works and to work with other people, and then come back with
fresh minds.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course, and to be open-minded and not like to stick on one thing. So yeah.
Also lets you not put all your ideas in one place. Like, you're gathering ideas throughout the years and you want to put them somewhere. And if you have many projects, they take their place in a better way. So yeah.
So your new upcoming album will be released through a Canadian label, Constellation Records. When exactly?
September 10.
Okay, so we'll be on the lookout for that. And now I want to know more about this new project of yours. What are kind of the key aspects of the new upcoming album that you personally would like to highlight and kind of point out so that more people will be aware of it and maybe even look for these specifics while listening to the album for the first time?
Hello?
So what are the new stuff that people should pay attention to in the second record? Well, it's done a million times better. This is for one. We worked a lot harder on this one, so everything is it's different. It's definitely different. I think the energy is still there to some extent, but the big part of us having to work with words and us having to work with like song before working with music really shaped things very different from the first one. The first one is very airy. The dreaminess of it all like is a big fog on top of the record. Second one is way more grounded. There's a lot of different elements in the second. It's a lot of different energy, I guess, that came out from this process of listening to the words and knowing what kind of words we're writing music to also. That's at least from the musicians' side of the band. I think. Hard to say.
The way I like to see it is the first album was like the excitement of people getting to know each other, and the second album is more like we became a family after like touring a lot and working more together. So it's really it took another shape.
And what type of feelings were you all feeling while creating this new album?
I mean, it was the parts of us creating the record were in between, like the war in Palestine, then that dragged into the genocide in Palestine, that dragged into the war in Beirut. So the feelings are a little bit mixed. Yeah, a lot of urgency, though, for sure, a lot of urgency.
Yeah.
Now I want us to move on actually to the topic of living in Beirut in Lebanon, and I think it's absolutely crucial to point out the war and numerous conflicts in connection with Israel. There have been countless Israeli attacks on Lebanon as well. And then as a band, you're being very vocal about the genocide that's currently going on in Palestine. And I personally think that's very urgent and commendable of you to do as artists, because actually a lot of musicians choose to be silent about it, sadly. And now I want to know, to what extent do you feel responsible to talk about these things and to point them out and, not stay silent? And what's your attitude towards all this, and how are you coping with it?
I think it's something organic for Lebanese artists. It's not something like we do an effort to talk about because to do it, because we've been living this since I was born, since we were born. So it's not really something new for us, but the new thing for me that we are touring. And we can talk outside Lebanon and not talk with friends and families who know everything.
Already know the story.
Already they know everything. So this is for us. This is the responsibility that we نحملها.
Carry. But it never feels like a responsibility. It's really our identity. It never feels like it's. Of course, in a show in Beirut, you would never talk about this stuff. This stuff is not talking about, but it's the identity, and you get you're gonna get poked. Either someone is gonna say something interesting, or so you have to but and anyway, as the way I see it is, I don't feel like it's a responsibility.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel like
not
this
an
is who we are.
effort.
Yeah, this is who
It's
we
not
are.
an effort. It's something really organic and something really like, we are living this, not only like watching this from far.
We're
away.
part of it.
Yeah, part of it. But I mean, day by day we know everything. So it's not. For example, my village was occupied by Israelis, so it's not something really like far away from us. But also, yeah, and sometimes we don't say anything most of the time because we feel that our presence is everything is like doing the job, yani, to.
Yeah, us being on tour while there's a war in our country, like last summer actually, and now is political in a way. It's a way of resisting, and we don't go preaching because we find that this also diminishes a bit because whenever it comes up, we make sure to actually correct everything because the media is very, very one-sided, and we live the reality, and people really don't know it. So. This is where we feel responsible to correct or to use the right terms and not to show that there's any equality in this whatsoever. Like there's no conflict, there's no, it's not with two sides, it's really one huge bully and very poor normal people.
Yeah, also there's another issue with like it being performative, right? So if there is a responsibility, that I think that of what you're asking, if there is a responsibility, is that not to make it a performance, also not to be performative about it. Yeah, because things can go this way, right? And then it becomes like a festival, like it's a festival or a festivity or something or a trend and that's disgusting.
Or a marketing thing.
Yeah.
And that's disgusting too. This is why I was saying like about it being a part of us. It's odd a little bit at times. It's odd, but I mean a good thing is that the venues that invite us or the venues where we choose to play and the people we get associate with, we make sure to understand where they are at and not get swindled. Because unfortunately, also in the music in the music world, if you want, or in the art world in general, there's a lot of like swindling. There's a lot of things that happen that people try to coerce you to do things, especially for us being Lebanese. Like to try to come up with this concept of us playing with Israeli musicians for us to be at peace or whatever. And yeah, there's a lot of this. So this is actually very, very annoying. But alhamdulillah, we can focus a bit. We pay attention.
So I read on Bandcamp that in connection with your new album, you collectively feel like in the past year everyone is leaving Lebanon. And how are you comprehending this? How do these troubling times mirror through your music?
I think it's a tough time for the region, of course, and in general. But we can speak for that country in specific, for Lebanon. It's people don't just leave because they want to leave. They are kind of pushed into leaving. And I think leaving and keeping your heart there is also very, very beneficial to the country, because you can also give back in some way. And staying there, of course, is and being there every day, and because usually, like I don't know how you go on with your life, but people can plan ahead. Maybe plan. Let's not be crazy and say 2 years, but they can plan 6 months in advance, right? In Lebanon, it kind of got to a point where it's day by day, So, and this is, I think this is, some people don't function this way, and some people need to have more kind of stability, and this is why there are a lot of people who actually choose to leave.
Yeah, and the album, I don't think it's not just about leaving or like leaving your country, or there's something the last 5 years you feel like you're always displaced with emotions, with you need to feel this, but you need to have the space. You need to be strong, especially in Lebanon. We had a really tough 5 years, economical crisis, the explosion, COVID, a lot of things, So this is my feeling. I feel always that I have a lot of feelings, but I have to take this space. So I'm leaving myself. I'm leaving my real emotional state and like to move on. But you're staying in this loop. Accumulating more feelings and more things, and staying in the same.
The sense of distance, I think, is more metaphorical also than it is like that much physical. The sense of distance that Sandy was talking about with the words in the second records and the lyrics that Sandy was using. The sense of distance is also, I think, some kind of metaphysical state more so than something very physical, even though in our region people tend to move a lot, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually all I have prepared for you today. Thank you so much again for having this talk with me, and I hope you're gonna enjoy your concert tonight here in Ljubljana. Tako, drage poslušalke in poslušalci, ravno kar ste poslušali intervju z libanonskimi Sanam, ki pa jih danes lahko slišite v živo in sicer v Channel Zero od 8:30 zvečer dalje. Z vami sem bila Erna Weber in hvala vam za poslušanje, pa želim vam lep dan še naprej. Čau!